Hey, how's it going? I hope everybody's doing okay. I just literally got done watching Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5, The Dream Child. I ain't gonna lie, I didn't really think I was gonna like this movie. I ended up liking this movie. I don't know, I liked it for some strange reason. Even though it had the same characters that came back, like that chick that came back, and then some of the stuff that happened earlier and stuff. She ends up getting pregnant by that guy that she had a crush on in Nightmare on Elm Street. Uh, uh, the one before that. Uh, this was called Dream Child, Dreamscape, or something like that. What was that? What was the second? That's crazy how I can't remember the other one. Uh, let's see. Anyway, uh, yeah, Dream Master. So I watched the Dream Child, and I didn't think I was gonna get into it at all, you guys. I ain't gonna lie. I was like, oh, I am starting to struggle with these things, right? But to be honest with you, man, I really end up liking this one. I ain't saying I love it, but I liked it. Now she was trying to figure out how Freddy was. Freddy ends up coming back, uh, like he got rebirthed through his mom that got raped. Cause Freddy Krueger came from this woman that got raped, and these guys raped her and kept her locked up. That's the origin of Freddy Krueger. And then, as he started, in the first movie, he killed the kids, he was killing kids, and then all the parents got together and burnt him alive or something like that. So that's how Freddy Krueger, he has what you call a restless soul, you know what I mean? But I was watching this and uh, it's very creative how they did this. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't, No, for some reason I haven't seen anything better than Dream Warriors, except for the first one. And I can't even say the first one was better than Dream Warriors. I just think Dream Warriors, they was clicking on all cylinders. But I did like this story. He was going through her child, and the special effects and the camera imagery and all that kind of stuff. There was just stuff in there. I ain't gonna lie, I liked. I was sitting there going, and she had one friend that survived. They're obviously her boyfriend got killed, and that was pretty slick. He was driving his truck, and then Freddy Krueger was coming through the radio, and then he got on this bike, and then the bike, the special effects with him riding that bike, and then the climax of he looked up and going head, he was going to be headed, he was head on collision with a truck. But he hit that truck in front of where she was working at, a little bit down the street. And I was like, man, it looked like they was on a country road. And then it just switched to her coming out and seeing that he had, got killed by that semi truck because he realized he was in a dream. That was pretty slick. I'm not gonna lie. I ain't gonna lie. I really like that. I'm surprised how much I really like this. I ain't gonna lie. This ain't gonna be no long video. What else did I like about it? I At first I think what threw me off is that baby. When that baby come out and he was like, hey, like that, and then he crawled up into his clothes that he got killed in Dream Master, and then he came back to being Freddy again. I was like, come on, man, y'all. But again, you gotta understand, man. When I watched Friday the 13th, man, there was a lot of stuff. Jason just be coming back to life all kinds of ways. You know what I'm saying? So I had to look at this the same way I looked at that. So I think that threw me off. So I was just not feeling it. I ain't gonna lie, I wasn't feeling it. I was just like, I'm not feeling this, man. I think I'm gonna wait about 2 weeks before I can finish it. It's what I said to myself, because I was like, I'm just gonna wait 2 weeks before I finish this and then uh, put up a review. But then it was getting late last night, man. And I started watching. I was like, oh, I'm starting to like this. And then now that part where that girl was, that swimming chick, man, she went swimming and then she got in that hot tub, and then she was the one that just would not believe. But the kid that was the comic book kid, he started believing, because he started doing research, and he was trying to get the girl that was like she was a swimmer, trying to get her, and she just wouldn't buy it. And then uh, he said, "I want you to stay with me." He goes, and then I like that scene though when he was using all his comic book heroes to fight Freddy, but then Freddy ended up killing him. And I wanted him to stay alive. I liked his character because he took his friends serious because he had a crush on that. He had a crush on that girl that was a model chick, and she was at the dinner table with her mom, and she ended up dying of like Freddy got inside of her and said eat, made her eat, and her face swelled all up. I ain't gonna lie, there was some good camera effects in here. I thought I wasn't gonna get into it. I ain't gonna lie. I thought I wasn't gonna get into it. I thought I was like, but the more and more I kept watching, I could, wow, this is pretty slick. They were all at the table, and she was like, "Ooh," doing all this kind of stuff, and everybody's at the dinner table looking at her and stuff, and then she died, and then she, the other girl seen her, and her jaws got all big, and because she was watching everything she eat, and her mom was trying to, because they had just graduated from school, so she was just, her mom was like running her life, because she was wanting to be a some type of model. And then the kid with the comic book, he had a crush on her, so he was upset that she died. So the only ones was left was him and the swimming chick and the girl, the main character. So he's like, he took her serious, but the swimming chick didn't take her serious until she went swimming. She got in that sauna. Then yeah, I was like, dang man, I said, shit, Freddy Krueger gonna kill everybody. But he didn't. Somehow she got away, and that girl was in her. The main character was getting into her dreams, trying to stop. But the only part I didn't like was she stayed with that guy, and seemed like she should have been able. She goes, "Well, I'm gonna get some." She went to get coffee or something in the same building, but then when she came back, she acted like she couldn't find him. But he was just like sleeping over there. I was like, that threw me off a little bit. But he did a good job fighting Freddy, man. When he, because he was in his comic books and his comic book characters, and he was using comic book characters. I'm not gonna lie. The more and more I watch this, the more and more I start getting into it. And they had close-ups of Freddy. Granted, my TV's like 5 months old, so I got a really nice TV. Everybody does, I get that. But my TV's brand new. It's like 5 months old. Maybe it's 6 months old now. But Freddy's face looked really just detailed, man. It's like it looked like it didn't look like he had a mask on. It looked like his face was just tore up. And then there was parts where he was trying to. Then the little kid that played the future, his future, was there because she was pregnant by the guy that died. And I was like, oh, I don't remember this. I said, no wonder it's called Dream Child. Because Freddy was going inside the baby. And that's what, because she was thinking something was wrong with the baby. And then the guy that she was pregnant by, their parents said, we just think you're unstable. Let us raise the child as our own. And they didn't like that. There was small little things they put into this that I thought was pretty cool. I'm trying to, jump around a little bit so I can like get everything in. But I really enjoyed this. I'm surprised that I enjoyed this. I literally just got done watching it. I really want to play me a video game. I get to work tomorrow. I get to work Saturday, make some money. Man, I ain't worked Saturday in a long time. But anyway, I was like, man, I want to stay up and watch the other one now. But I got through 4 now. I just got done with 5. But what else? There was a part where when the guy died, with the comic book guy, and she was telling her friend, you got to go and find her mom. This chick drives all the way out here to this creepy, huge place where his mom used to work. It's like an old, closed down, huge, like asylum or something like. And I was like, woman, you ain't gonna go there by yourself. That chick went there by herself, and found that woman's spirit. Right? She found that woman's spirit because she's poking holes in this brick wall. I was sitting there going, I said, girl, you got some kahunas, man. I said to be going there by yourself because they did a good job making that place look all creepy. But that girl went. But she was pretty stubborn though. Her character was pretty stubborn. So I'm thinking that she was like, whatever, dude. I'm just going. But when she Told her, I believe you now, because she goes, she was having that bad dream, and then the girl got in the dreams and kind of saved her. That's when she went out there. So at the time she was out this asylum, Freddie was trying to get to her child, and her child was standing there while her and Freddie was fighting. And then Freddie's like coming out of her and Freddie was like either coming out of her or trying to get her, or Freddie was trying to consume her. And Freddie was winning. And the boy was sitting there, her future son, that's the future baby, was sitting there. He looked like he's like 8 years old. He was just like looking. And then by the time Freddie looked like he's about ready to win, and the girl that was at that asylum busted a brick through the wall, and she got in there, and she seen her mom kneeling. And then when she went to touch that woman, the woman turned around, was a real ugly looking skeleton face. And then she turned around, looked at her, and her real face appeared, and she said, "Thank you." I still said to myself, girl, you have got some kahunas, man, to be in that big building doing that all by yourself. But she did. And then when her spirit left, and that's when she intervened when Freddie was fighting the main girl. And then the woman was telling the little boy, she goes, it's up to you to save your mom and everything like that. And then the little boy turned into like a little mini Freddie. He said, "Hey, Jason." He said, "Hey, Freddie." He goes, "How about taking me?" And then, Freddie's like, like that. And then he turns around and he looks at him and stuff. And then that little boy goes, and she says, and Freddy Krueger's mom says, "Now." And then something comes out of him and goes inside Freddy Krueger's body. And then Freddy Krueger's body started exploding all these people that he had killed prior. That chick that was a model, her wide jaw face, was like, "Oh," and then his dad, the guy that she was in love with, that she was obviously pregnant by, he came out. And then the guy that was in the comic books, he came out. I was sitting there going like this. I was like, dang, man, this ain't too freaking bad. I was kind of surprised, man, because I really didn't think I was going to get into this. But I'm not going to lie, you guys. Number 5, I end up liking. And I don't remember number 5, to be honest with you. I do not remember Nightmare on Elm Street 5, Dream Child, at all. And that might be why I enjoyed it. No, that ain't even why I might enjoy it. It's just the fact I like when something surprises me. Now, are these kind of like cheesy kind of? Yeah, don't get me wrong, it's kind of cheesy, but I was like, there was parts in there where she was like, "Don't let him get to you," and like she's going down these steps, and then he's going down these steps, and these steps are going down up here, and the camera imagery and the way they were shooting that thing, I was like, "Yeah, okay." I kept saying, "Okay." I said, I'm like, look, I'm not gonna lie, man. For a movie that's that old, and for them to be that creative, because look, I'm not gonna tell. Look, I'm a cut through the trace, the cheese, whatever. Cut through it. Just be honest. No, I am honest. All I'm saying is that I love these movies, even if they're cheesy. But I love these movies because that's why we collect physical. We collect physical movies because we enjoy our movies. I don't use woke at all that much, but there's no woke crap in here. There's no woke crap, and I think that's why when movies that are not that good or kind of like, it was okay. Well, it makes it even more of an okay movie because of the fact that I enjoy watching these movies. I wish that if we could go back in time and we could find out how Hollywood was getting ready to be the way Hollywood is today, and somebody could have warned them, maybe we could get a lot more, movies that. Because I just love these movies, you guys. I love these movies. I love all my Friday the 13th, and I love my Nightmares. I love my. I like all my Screams. I ain't gonna lie. Scream had 1, 2, and 3, and 4. I like them, but I do have all of them, you guys. Don't get me wrong, but they kind of drifting into some things I don't get into. But other than that, but I ain't gonna lie, man. This is I enjoyed this. I know I'm talking a lot, but I was like, I was just like doing like this, like, all right, and I enjoyed it. I really did. I was surprised, and listen to the comments, some people's comments, and then I was talking to a guy at work. He said he's watching all the his name is Ryan, he's a redhead guy, and he's like I said, Ryan, I'm gonna go ahead and finish my his name is Ryan. I said, Ryan, I'm gonna finish my Nightmare on Elm Street tonight, tonight, this weekend, try to. And he was like, yeah, he said, he's trying to watch all the Mission Impossibles. I sit there and I said, man, you watching all the Mission Impossible? I said, man, I said, I'm a big Tom Cruise fan. I said, but I just never got into the Mission Impossible. I said, I watched one. I thought it was cool. Thought it was good. Now I looked at him. I said, yeah, man. So you going to watch? I said, which one you on? He was on. I said, dang, man. I said, you got a lot of them to watch. He goes, yeah, because I don't know how many Mission Impossible movies Tom Cruise put out. I said, you going to watch I said, you going to watch Tom Cruise get old, even though he's my age. Yeah, I said, you're going to watch him get old right in front of your eyes. And he started laughing. I said, not that I'm saying he looks bad. I said, but you're going to watch him in them first couple of Mission Impossibles until you go all the way up to the last one that he just came out with just this past year. And he goes, yeah. But he's actually watching all the Mission Impossible movies. And I'm sitting here watching all the Nightmare on Elm Street. And so to wrap this up, I said, yeah, man, I'm going to watch The Dream Child tonight. I said, when I get off work, man, I said, I'm going to finish watching, the Dream Child. He goes, oh, man, you see, because he's 40 something and I'm 60. He's like, oh, man, he said, I like that one, but there's two of them he said he didn't like. I think it was this one that he named this one that he didn't care too much for that, and 2. And he's at the water fountain getting water, and I said, yeah, I said 2 is very divisive, man. I said, a lot. He said, yeah, I know a lot of people didn't like 2. He said, and I'm one of them. He said, he didn't hate it, but he said 2 is 2, and I think The Dream Child, there's 3 of them that he didn't care for, but the other 4 that he liked. I said, well, I still have my decision to make. So anyway, you guys, that's just my little take on I ain't gonna lie, you guys. I like this movie, and I like when I watch something and I end up liking it, because I didn't really think I was gonna like this movie at all. I was sitting there going, I'm not feeling this. Maybe I was a little burnt out, or maybe I was just not getting into it because I've been. I did the same thing with Friday the 13th. I was like, oh God, I got like 5 more to watch, And I wouldn't watch them because, like I said, I am not buying stuff and having them sit on the shelf just for display. Ain't happening. You gonna watch your stuff, I said to myself. And that's the same way I did with Friday the 13th. I really enjoyed myself when I watched all of them. And I'm glad I did, because I invested all that money in that box set. And I watched all of them. Same way with this. I bought this 7 film collection, and I've never opened it up. This is the first time I'm watching all these, And so, yeah, that's crazy, man. That is really crazy. Huh. I don't know what else to say, man. It's kind of funny, man. I did not think I was gonna like this at all, man. I ain't saying it's great, so don't get it twisted. But I don't know. I end up enjoying it. God bless. Take care. And we'll catch you next video. We'll see you.